it's Mark. I am the Sanderson collector, and today I am going to show you some of the really cool misprinted books that I have collected over the years. I really like collecting misprinted books. They are unique and really distinctive, especially in cases where the misprint is visible on the shelf. And they're also really cool conversation starters. Like, I show you this book and you're like, okay, that's cool. What is going on there? And you want to talk about it, and it just gets people talking and really interested in the books because they're distinct. Another reason I like collecting misprinted books is that they are not usually super expensive. They are just little oddities that a lot of times people don't want, and so often I can get them by just trading a regular copy of a book that is not misprinted to someone who has a misprinted copy. And a lot of other collectors do not hunt for misprints, so they don't have a ton of value, but I still think they're really cool, and I enjoy looking at them. As a quick note, misprints are not damaged books. If you have a book that went through a flood or someone tried to chop in half with a sword or something, that is not a misprinted book. That is a damaged book. Misprints are all things that happen at the time the book is being printed by the publisher before it even goes on shelves. So we're going to take a dive and look through the process of printing a book from the aspect of, here are some things that can go wrong that produce these misprints. At the beginning of the printing process for a book, the book is printed in chunks of pages of 16, and these are called signatures. And these chunks can run out of ink, or the ink can smear together. And you can see on this copy of Leatherbound Elantris that sometimes you get some extra ink smearing in here. I've got some blue on this page, and I've got some extra blue on this page. There's none in the rest of the book. They just got a bit of extra ink on this copy. Sometimes, instead of extra ink, the signatures can run out of ink, and in this advanced reader copy of Arcanum Unbounded, we can see that right here, the printer started running out of ink, or there was something in the way of the ink. And over here, we can see another instance of this, which happens to be 32 pages or 2 signatures later. I'm not sure why this doesn't happen every 16 pages in this book, but that is how it happens. And there's actually 2 different sets that go through in this book where there's missing ink. One is on the left, one is on the right, and here's an example of the one on the left, and it gets worse as we go along. So the strip of missing ink has gotten wider, and there's a big chunk down here it's missing, and then pages just start missing. So this is page 207, and this is page 205. So page 206 is just completely blank, as is page 211 over here, and that continues for a couple pages, and then eventually it fixes itself. I do not know what the issue is with the book and how this happened that this stuff went missing, but this is a really cool misprint. And just a note, I only have a misprinted copy of the Arcanum Unbounded arc, so if you have a non-misprinted copy, I would love to collect that as well. After they get printed up, those sets of 16 pages then get bound together, and it is possible that sometimes some of those chunks get missed or end up in the wrong place. And here's an example in a Skyward arc where 16 pages simply got missed. It jumps straight from page 216 to page 247. Those pages aren't randomly anywhere else in the book. They're just completely missing. And you can see it happened before the binding was put on because there's not a gap here or anything. They're just straight up not in the book. After the pages are all put together, they get bound into the binding of the book, and that can give you things like this, like this, like this. And yes, all of these books are bound upside down. The text inside is the opposite of the binding that you will see on the outside and even on the spine and so on. And this just happens because the inside pages here get flipped over and glued in upside down. There's no missing pages. The book is perfectly readable. It's just upside down from what you would normally expect. The dust jacket on these books is printed separately, and sometimes that also gets misprinted with the embossing and foiling that gets put on it. As you can see on this star site here, the foiling and highlighting is offset from Brandon's name and Skyward over here, and it's also very apparent on the back because the glossy bit that would cover the cover of the book is not aligned with it in any way. Additionally, on the Cytonic, you can see that the embossing, which is the raised letters, does not line up with Brandon's name or the word Cytonic. So these are two things that can happen as misprints when the dust jacket of a book is being put together. That can happen on hardcovers and on paperbacks. This copy of Path of Daggers is probably my favorite misprint because it is so blatantly obvious that something went wacky here, and you can see that the red outline and the gold foiling got completely offset when this was printed and then slapped onto the book. The text is completely normal and in the normal place. There is nothing wrong with the text. It is just a misprint of the dust jacket. I really like this one because it shows that the cover of the book is just printed off in a long sheet and then cut up, because you can see the Path of Daggers wrapping around from the bottom to the top. Like, this is an offset misprint from the dust jacket or the cover of the book below it. And then we have the cover for this book, which is offset up this way, and if there's another copy misprinted like this, the rest of the gold foiling for the Path of Daggers will be up in this area. And for the last book, I have this off-cut edition of Skyward, where it's not even a perfect square, and you can see that along the top it goes one direction and then turns and goes another direction. This happens because the book gets bound just fine, and then the book gets miscut when it is cut down to the perfect size. And this is another cool one because the book is perfectly readable. It's just all slightly wonky inside, and when it sits on the shelf, it sits at a slight angle and looks pretty cool. We can also see a red line here where it was supposed to line up, and I believe that was supposed to get cut off on the bottom of the book, but it didn't, and so this is a really cool miscut edition of Skyward. That's going to be everything for my misprint video today. I hope you have enjoyed seeing all of these really cool misprinted books that I have. If you have any misprints that I don't have and you want to send them my way, I would usually be happy to send you a copy of the regular book in exchange. If it's a rare or hard to find book like first print Way of Kings or a leatherbound, that might not be possible, but in general, I am happy to send you a copy of the book that is not misprinted in exchange for your misprint. Which one of these was your favorite misprint edition? If you can go ahead and leave me a comment below to let me know. I would really enjoy reading those and seeing what y'all liked about these books. And if you're enjoying the videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel and give me a like. And I will be back next week with another awesome video about collecting books. And until then, happy collecting.